Resident Evil 4 Remake length revealed. When a remake happens, a lot of people just want the game to improve upon the original, but keep most of the things intact. One of those things that should never be modified is the story. Especially the story's length. Given the changes we saw during the initial segment of the Resident Evil 4 Remake gameplay trailer, people were scared. However, there is nothing to be afraid of. The Resident Evil 4 Remake length has been confirmed by the producer, and it is something great for fans of the original one. It would seem that the game will last exactly the same as the first one. Resident Evil 4 Remake's length will be between 15 to 30 hours, just like the original. The original game took 15 to 30 hours to complete. According to the How Long to Beat website. This seems normal for a game of that time and even these days. We already know that the new God of War will last 20 hours, just like its predecessor. Yet, while the Resident Evil 4 Remake length is unchanged, other things will. Not for the worse, though. During the Resident Evil 4 Remake gameplay reveal, we saw a lot of new features that are arriving when the game launches. Resident Evil 4 platforms. While the game was shown off as part of a PlayStation event, it's not going to be exclusive to Sony's platform. Resident Evil 4 will release on PlayStation 5, but also on Xbox Series X/S and PC. Finally, it'll have support for PSVR 2, Sony's next-generation virtual reality headset. This means that the game is skipping last-gen consoles, a significant step. That said, by its release, the PS5 and Xbox Series X/S will have been out for well over 2 years, so we're very much in the phase where releases do start to skip the older consoles for the sake of more focused performance. Resident Evil 4 story. We're going to keep things vague in case you've never played the original Resident Evil 4, on any of the many platforms it has been re-released on since it first came out. The game sees Leon Kennedy, star of Resident Evil 2, take on a dangerous mission to rescue the American president's daughter. She's been abducted by a cult based in rural Spain, taking the series into the wilderness slightly. There, a mysterious plague has eaten away at the community and rendered them rageful and violent, leaving a gauntlet of ambushes and traps for Leon to navigate. Meanwhile, there are typical Resident Evil shenanigans involving Albert Wesker and Ada Wong, among others, playing out in the background. It all adds up to one of Resident Evil's more pulpy stories, despite a tone that is at times quite realistic. Of course, we don't know how much Capcom will change the story and script. Its remakes of Resident Evil 2 and 3 did make some updates and lengthen certain sections for pacing reasons rather than leaving things exactly as you remember them, after all. This means that one of gaming's most familiar campaigns could well have some surprises up its sleeve when Resident Evil 4 does eventually release. Resident Evil 4 gameplay. Resident Evil 4 was a big step toward action-packed gameplay for the series when it was released, and we'd imagine that things will stay that way for its remake, with Leon gunning down big crowds of enemies with limited ammo. From the reveal trailer, you can already tell that the visuals are an enormous step up, and one side effect of that will be far more realistic lighting, which could lead a wide range of locations to look a heck of a lot creepier and more atmospheric, from castle interiors to rundown houses. We know that the over-the-shoulder camera viewpoint will return, thankfully, so that's one way in which the game will remain true to its roots. One enormous change, though, is that Leon will be able to move while aiming his gun, probably the single biggest limitation in the original title. This will make things more fluid and significantly more modern, but looks like it might be the most major gameplay change that Capcom is making. We can catch glimpses of returning characters that will help Leon along the way in various trailers so far, and the game also has him shepherding Ashley, the kidnapped target, for a lot of its length, so it'll be interesting to see if Capcom has made that escorting process a bit smoother and easier to control. Capcom did mention in its summer showcase that the Ganados, the main enemy type in the game, have been totally redesigned to be scarier, so we might see a more widely varied stock of enemies in the villages and castle that Leon will navigate.